Hi everybody, welcome to Look, Live, and Be Better. I'm Dr. Anthony Youn, America's holistic plastic surgeon, and today we've got what I think is a fascinating topic, and plastic surgeons have been fascinated with this for a long time. This is what I consider the holy grail of plastic surgery, is how can you lose stubborn fat without having surgery? I'll tell you, just 5 to 10 years ago, this was not possible. The only real option we had was liposuction. But there are other options now. So let's get started. All right, so there is a difference between body contouring that plastic surgeons do and weight loss. So I tell all my patients that plastic surgery is not for weight loss. If you are looking to lose weight, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, more than that, then the best thing to do is to go on a good diet, exercise. There are a lot of great diet books out there. I have a listing here. My friend J.J. Virgin's got a number of great diet books. Dr. Joel Fuhrman, Dr. Kellyanne Petrucci, The Bone Broth Diet, Haley Pomeroy, The Fast Metabolism Diet, and a very new book by my friend Dr. Travis Stork on the belly diet, basically decreasing your belly fat, is another one that's real popular right now. So once again, you got to make a difference between body contouring, which is kind of getting rid of stubborn fat deposits, and actual weight loss. Now, as I mentioned earlier, liposuction really has been the gold standard for reducing fat and getting rid of stubborn fat deposits for a very long time. And once again, we're going to take diet and exercise out of this. This is for those stubborn fat deposits that no matter how much you work out, no matter what you eat, those fat deposits are still there. So liposuction's been the gold standard for a long time, but it is real surgery. This is real surgery, however, that can get some major results. And technically, the FDA has recommended that doctors can remove up to 5 liters at one time. This is basically 11 pounds. That is a lot of fat. But it is still surgery. Now, there's also other types of lipo that you may have heard of: laser-assisted liposuction, ultrasonic liposuction. These are all kind of variations of traditional liposuction, but it's still surgery. And because it's still surgery, it definitely hurts, and there is a recovery time involved. So, a lot of people don't want to have surgery, but they still want to get rid of their fat. So how do you do that? Well, once again, this is what I call the holy grail of plastic surgery. It's non-invasive fat reduction. How do you get rid of fat without diet, without exercise, without needles, and without surgery? It is possible now. And there are a number of ways that we can do that, and they're listed here: low light lasers, cool sculpting, Vanquish, liposonics, UltraShape, Sculpture. How do you choose between these? Well, we're going to go into that right now. Now, before I start, though, I'd like to encourage you, if you've got any questions or comments, leave comments and questions here at the end of this broadcast. I'll try to answer those for you. If you can ideally leave your name, we know your name actually on Facebook, but leave your name, where you're from, and I'd love to answer those questions even at the end of this broadcast. All right, so RealSelf.com is something that I used to kind of get some statistics here, and this is the most popular website, plastic surgery-related website in the United States, and possibly in the world. This huge website with tons of information for anybody who's interested in plastic surgery has what we call worth it ratings, and these basically allow patients to go and give an actual thumbs up or thumbs down of whether this procedure, this technique, this laser, this device, whether it was worth it or not when they had that procedure done. So these worth it ratings are so valuable if you're thinking about having a procedure done. They also give the average cost of these procedures, and they give patient reviews. Doctors will go on the website and answer your questions, and they'll even give doctor reviews as well. So RealSelf.com, if you're thinking about any type of cosmetic procedure, is a great place to go to learn about it. All right, so the first group of non-invasive fat reducers were the low-light lasers. And basically what a low-light laser is this, the best way to describe it is almost like a laser pointer. Okay, this is a laser but does not create heat. And the first one that came on the scene was years ago called Zerona. And I introduced this on the Rachel Ray Show many years ago as really the first available non-invasive fat reducing treatment. Now, low-light lasers work. The idea behind them is that the low-light lasers, these laser beams, will actually penetrate the surface of your skin and cause the fat cells to regurgitate their fatty components, basically, to get rid of the fat. Then you undergo a period of a couple of weeks where you walk. Typically, you take a niacin supplement and you drink a lot of water to try to flush that fat out of your system. The idea then is that fat can be permanently removed. The good thing about low light laser treatments, absolutely no pain involved. Basically, you have the treatment and you're watching TV or you sit on your phone or you read a book. The bad thing about these treatments and why I'm not a huge fan of them is it's hard to predict where that fat's going to come from. And so we did multiple patients. We did the Zerona. I think it works. We had people lose many, many inches. But the problem was they may want inches off their thighs removed, but it came off their midsection instead. And so we had a hard time really getting a predictable result for this. Now, as you can see, the cost of Zerona treatments is about $1,600 according to RealSelf.com. The worth it rating is about 50%, so not so good. Strawberry lipo is another one, and iLipo is a newer type of low light laser treatment. I don't have a lot of experience with these. As you can see with the iLipo, a bit more expensive, $3,625, but a good worth it rating. But overall, if you're thinking about reducing fat without surgery, this is not the group of treatments that I would recommend as your first tier treatment. CoolSculpting. CoolSculpting is one you've probably heard of, and this treatment operates out of the theory and the fact really that our skin is more hardy than the fat underneath it. And this treatment started with a doctor who noticed that a child who was kind of addicted to sucking on popsicles ended up having a dent in his cheek. And the thought was that that dent was because the coldness of the popsicle didn't damage the inner mucosal lining of the mouth, but actually killed off the fat cells underneath. And so they used that idea to actually create a device that could destroy fat. And so the idea then is that the skin is frozen, but the fat underneath it is as well. Now the fat will actually be permanently destroyed, but the skin itself stays intact. This is a very proven treatment. Maximum results take about 2 months, and the studies show that it can reduce the thickness of fat from anywhere from 20 to 25% after one 1-hour treatment. So a nice result. The cost is about $2,275 on RealSelf.com with a good worth it rating of 83%. So if you're looking for non-invasive fat reduction, CoolSculpting is what we see most commonly in doctors' offices and med spas. Vanquish is another one. Vanquish uses radio frequency waves to heat the fat to destroy that fat. This is a no-touch treatment, basically. It's almost like you're sitting underneath a heat lamp. But instead of the heat lamp, this device uses radio frequency waves to heat up your deep fat of the abdomen and of your midsection, destroying that fat, and then once again your body gets rid of the fat by its own natural mechanisms. I mean, basically you poop and you pee it out. With Vanquish, unlike CoolSculpting, it's not one treatment, it's 4 to 6 treatments. Each one's about 45 minutes long and about a week apart. So it's a few more treatments than you do with CoolSculpting. In this, you show about 2 inches or more of fat that people lose off their waist, so pretty good. The cost is $2,300, and on RealSelf, they have a worth it rating of 68%, so not quite as good as CoolSculpting. Liposonus is another one. Liposonus uses ultrasound waves to destroy fat cells. It's the same type of ultrasound waves we use to look at a baby in a woman's tummy, but you turn those ultrasound waves way up and you can destroy fat cells with it. They advertise that it's 1 treatment, 1 hour, and 1 pant size or 1 inch smaller. So not bad. The cost is $2,350. Worth it rating, a bit disappointing at 50%. So this treatment is not quite as popular as the other ones, possibly because results may not be quite as dramatic, but still a scientifically proven fat reducer. UltraShape, one of the newer treatments, it uses ultrasound waves to reduce the fat. UltraShape is painless, which is great about it. And unlike the CoolSculpting unlike CoolSculpting, I guess Vanquish, it does take multiple treatments, but unlike CoolSculpting and Liposonics, it does necessitate 3 treatments over 2 weeks, so you got to come back a couple of times. The newest UltraShape is called UltraShape Power, and that shows a 32% fat reduction after those 3 treatments. And this is the most that I've seen in studies so far, so very impressive. The cost is similar to what you see with the other treatments, about $2,550 according to RealSelf.com, and a good worth it rating, very good at 87% thumbs up. So UltraShape, especially the new UltraShape Power, if you're thinking about getting rid of fat, a reasonable option. And finally, there's Sculpture. Sculpture is probably the newest fat reducer on the scene. This is the only FDA-cleared laser that can heat the fat to destroy it. So the other lasers are low light lasers, are cold lasers. They don't create heat. Sculpture does. This is a 25-minute treatment, so less than the 1 hour of CoolSculpting, and it reduces the fat thickness by about 20 to 25%, pretty similar to what we see with CoolSculpting. This you can actually treat multiple small areas at once. So if you've got a lot of small areas you want to treat at once for one kind of cost, this is a pretty good option. $1,850 with a very good worth it rating of 80% on realself.com. And I do have some before and after photos that you're probably hoping to see when I'm talking about reducing fat. You can see here in the tummy area of this woman really taking that fat down, so a nice change. Here's another patient. This is a guy, it looks like, reducing fat after one treatment of Sculpture. So you can get some really nice results with Sculpture. So, a lot of stuff here. What is my recommendation? So if you want to get rid of fat and you don't want to have surgery and diet and exercise isn't working for you, then these are the things I would consider. CoolSculpting, which is the granddaddy of them all and most common. Okay, if anybody has a fat reducing treatment, usually this is one they have and it works. UltraShape, the new UltraShape Power does appear to have potentially greater fat loss than some of these other treatments, so it's something definitely to look into. And Sculpture, 25 minutes, one treatment, and you can treat 4 areas at once. And that also proven to work. And I would encourage you to avoid the low light laser therapy, although I do think these treatments do work. I don't think that the results are quite as predictable